want to get our paintbrushes in our hand, I remind you from time to time that we are painting this picture. Who better to paint a picture of the community but those of us who live in it, and those of us who love it, and those of us who want to see it presented to the rest of the world as a community that is vibrant, that is healthy, that is energetic, that is conscious, especially conscious, that we are not operating in an unconscious state of being, but that we are fully logged in to all that is happening around us, and that we are contributors and participators in the community. This evening I have in the studio with me Mr. Bevan Duke Earle.
Yes, indeed, that's correct.
I've got that right. Mr. Bevan Duke Earle, known as the Duke of Earle, and he's going to, well, first of all, let me just welcome you to Views and Expectations, and welcome you to this wonderful online experience that we're going to have tonight. I promise you it's going to be
for your invitation.
What I noticed about your newspaper is that it's monthly. Why did you decide on that configuration? Why just once a month?
It was twice when I started, but I realized that very expensive to produce, and if you don't have the sponsors, you're going to be losing a lot of money. Your pocket going to be burning. I started out twice a month, and for about a year or so, I have to stop it because the overhead was more than what I was making, and I have to be using my saving to produce it. So I cut back and started to do it once per month, which I find every 15th of the month, I find it to be much more better for me. I can make saving out of that, and I can produce more newspaper. And there are people waiting for this newspaper to be out every 15th of the month, because there are issues in my newspaper that I address on a monthly basis that they are living those type of issues.
And we're going to get to one of those, because one of those just really caught my eyes. Really caught my eyes. But what I want to find out is because it's something I have been thinking about for a while, wondering where are the hot spots in terms of the Jamaican diaspora, especially the North American aspect of the community. I noticed that you have a representative in Jamaica. Obviously there's a representative here in South Florida, and you have one in New York.
Yes.
Why New York? I can understand Jamaica
because
and you're here, but why New York?
New York have another large Jamaican population there. And also Atlanta too. I have someone in Atlanta too.
Okay.
So I try to touch the areas where we have a lot of Jamaicans living and need to know what is happening back home, and even here in South Florida. So that's one of the reasons why I do that.
Okay, so it has to do with the population density.
Yes.
Now, those of you who are naturalized Americans, many people do not vote. You think that what's happening in the United States has nothing, and it's a privilege to be able to vote. And I have said at times that if you do not vote, the politicians are not going to pay you any attention, because you're not valuable to them, because you're not going to cause anything to shift, you're not going to change anything, so they don't have to come to you to solicit your votes, because you're not voting anyway, so they don't have to promise you anything. They can spend all their energies in areas and with communities that they know are going to go out and vote. And I want to make sure, and listen here, somebody, just call 954-251-7883. I want to know what the general attitude is. Somebody must have the information, if we don't have it in the studio here tonight, that what is the percentage of the population of Jamaicans that understand the importance of voting or withholding their vote when it comes election time, and that they're not just riding. This is not a political show. I want you to see how important it is to be involved in the civic responsibilities in whatever community you live in, whether it's in Barrett Town or whether it's right here in South Florida, it's in Georgia, it's in Atlanta. We're up against the station break, and when we come back, we're gonna continue to look for the water pump that is missing in Barrett Town. This is Views and Expectations. We'll be right back. We're back, and we're right in the middle of Barrett Town, discussing the issues of the missing water pump. And I've been talking about people, the voice of the people. We really, at the time, when you wrote that, what I found interesting that you said, when a nation cannot provide adequate drinking water, and you said when it cannot provide. But as I read the article, I said no. I said it's not that it cannot. I'm wondering if, you know, and as you're talking now, I realize that that you're saying really that the will to do it is not there.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
The will to do it. The political will is not there.
Everything is there, set for them to just move it. Just do what they have to do. Water is there. But they're not making, you know, and this is not yesterday or today, it's a long time.
You said 50 years.
Well, hey, 50 years since independence, we just still, people still carrying water on their head. And we have proper water infrastructure set up in other areas. Why can't the common man get the water like anybody else?
So, but what community organizations, for example, are set up? What kind of community organizations are set up to help to rally the voices of the people so that they can make some kind of a representation to the powers that be?
You see, the problem is when it comes to Jamaica and have organization that will ever go there and stand up and face the government, they don't last too long. Politics control. Politics is what runs things in Jamaica. Anything you're going to do is politics. Anything you're going to do is politics, and politics can make a lot of things.
So what hope do we have? What hope do we have for any change to take place if, when the community gets together, the organizations somehow are forced out of business?
Can you repeat that again?
What hope is there for change if you have community organizations
to come together and you know the reason why we can't get any change is because we are divided. Politics is what divides us. Two-party system. The two-party system is what divides the country. So you just can't get any things done because, you know, division. When one is in power, one will say, I will make change, but there's no change. The other comes the same thing. The fight begins. Those who wear the green against those with the orange and green.
But then that suggests then that that the voters don't seem to be sophisticated enough to realize that government after government is going to continue to do the same thing.
We are not united. We are divided. We are so divided that we can't come together. We can't.
But I would imagine that would be true for any country. That would be true for any country that you have. Maybe it may not be a two-party system. It may be three. It may be open to all kinds of parties developing, being formed. Like here we have now this Tea Party movement, but the voters, the electorate, must be then educated. Is what you say. Still need to be educated as to how things work.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna vote in, if you're gonna elect people, that we know why it is that we can't begin to sensitize the ear of the electorate to realize that when politicians are talking, as they say, with the three tongues that they have from the left, the right, and the center. Why can't they be sensitized to those realities to help in the process and to cause them to make some significant statements with their votes? Some significant, because then they'll have to speak with their votes.
People are scared, you know. When people are getting handouts, people control your movement, people control your kitchen, you have to do what they say. A lot of people, you know, they live on handout. And so they are scared to speak out because they might go to bed without a dinner.
You see, and this is what I've been saying, people. I spoke about the personality of a community, and I say that people have personalities, but a community also has a personality. And this is one of the things that we address in terms of the kind of abuses that take place within families when the uncle or the cousin or the father might be abusing the children or abusing the mother, and godparents, you know, but because they are bringing a goat from time to time or they're bringing some grocery,
yes.
then the person, when the children are reporting to the parents, they don't get the support that they expect because they do not want to stop the flow of the handout that is coming in to feed the mouths. And so the community now, you're telling me, looks just like some of the families that are suffering from that kind of abuse.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
You know, and that speaks volumes to the fact that changes have to take place. I mean, we're using Barrett Town as an example. You see that there is water everywhere. I come from a place in Canada where water flows. My gosh, we just have water. So many things are driven by water. Electricity, driven by water. And you're telling me that there is enough water in Jamaica to be channeled if the energy would have put into harnessing this water and sending it and distributing it to the people that are in need.
Yes.
And as long as it's not bringing in an immediate dollar, because tourism, obviously the tourism industry, and we understand that the tourism industry is important to Jamaica, there's no question about it.
But if you can't take care of your people.
But if you cannot take care of your people.
How are you going to take care of tourism?
But you can take care of it by ignoring the people, and you take care of the tourism, because that's what's bringing in the immediate dollar. Listen, if you didn't write this article, I wouldn't know anything about Barrett Town, and as much as I've been around places in Jamaica, I wouldn't know about Barrett Town and what's going on in Barrett Town.
Barrett Town is a corridor, the beginning of the hip strip to Montego Bay. Barrett Town is located between about 4 to 5 hotels. You have the Iberia Star 1, 2, and 3. You have the Hilton Hotel. You have the Sea Castle, right across, right in that neighborhood. And you have one of the biggest conference centers that the Chinese have just built for millions of dollars. You have the Great House right there.
Okay, so let me ask you something. What is the employability situation for the people in Barrett Town? Do you have an idea of how many people that live in Barrett Town actually get employment by all of these big institutions that you mentioned?
The older folks might be getting 1 or 2 jobs there, but the younger folks, there's no opportunity for them, because most of these young men are drop out from school. You see them in the roadside and 24 basis pounding their hand middle. The young ladies with so much babies in their hand. This is what we see. We are only what I would say, not breeding, but cultivating some maybe a couple of years hard-on criminals.
Because there is no opportunity for employment.
And without opportunities, Highlands will talk.
And I really wonder about that, when the frustration of young people especially, and it's not everyone that can leave the community in which they grew up and to go someplace else, especially when you do not have anything, when you do not have an education or trade, something that you can offer someplace else. So you're really stuck in a system where now you become ghettoized and consumed by your poverty, consumed by your state of lack. And then you look and there is abundance all around you. There's abundance all around you. And so, it's really important. It makes it even more so important, this program this evening, to say for the people in Barrett Town, maybe somebody there is watching. Maybe someone knows someone that lives in Barrett Town, and you're on the air right now. You're watching the program. Take it upon yourself. Buy a telephone card and call and tell somebody in Barrett Town that here on RHR TV1 we are sitting down here tonight and we are discussing this issue, and that someone cares. We want to say that we want the community in Florida to know, and we want the community in Atlanta to know, and we want the community in New York to know, and we want the Jamaican communities with Mr. Noel Alexander in Montreal as the president of the Jamaica Association there to know, and in Toronto to know that that Barrett Town has issues, and we want to begin to address these things. We cannot just sit here outside of Jamaica and highlight issues if we are not prepared to do some kind of a liaising and get together to look at what can be done to help with these situations. Maybe they do not have a voice, but when we begin to look at it as a corporate issue, as an institutional issue, then something has to be able to be done. Because if there is a Barrett Town, then there are many other places, I am convinced that there are many other places in Jamaica that might be suffering the same thing, that might have the same issues, that might have the same personality or structure, that might be afraid to interfere with the flow of goods and the handouts that are coming. And so what happens that you end up being fed all the time, never learning how to fish. So today I'm sitting here just before the station break to say we have to get together and help the people in Barrett Town to fish. Stop feeding them fish and not teaching them how to fish.